Okay, this is just an off the dome video because I don't get this. And I've done many lives. A lot of you folks do watch my lives, and we do engage with MAGA. We talk to liberals. Hell, we cover the entire spectrum. But I don't understand this from a standpoint of my conservatives, my Republicans, my beloved MAGA that I often enjoy talking to. Two things are currently in the news. One being President Trump is, in his own words, attempting to bail out Argentina. He's claiming that the people in Argentina are starving and they're in desperate need. So we're going to send from the U.S. taxpayers. First, it was $20 billion to Argentina. Now it's been up to $40 billion. Now, this is going to draw a couple of things. First of all, we were told that President Trump's goal was to make America great again. We were going to focus on Americans first. So I do want to ask, how does helping out Argentina, what does that do for the average American? The price of groceries, the economy hasn't gotten better. As I just said, the price of groceries, what you're paying for food at the store, has not improved to any significant degree. I believe gas prices are kind of stable. So if you want to give the president credit for gas prices, okay, so be it. But what you're paying for steak and groceries, not any better. What you're paying for an auto, what you're paying for a home, inflation rates, your credit card interest rates, none of that's gotten better. So why are we finding money for Argentina? I'm asking this to my MAGA audience because Trump was supposed to be better than Biden and not continue wasting our money overseas. We stopped helping out the Ukraine, too much money. We got rid of USAID, genuinely poor people. Some of them folks have now died because we no longer help them financially. So if you're going to cut off USAID, considering a lot of them African nations were in desperate need because you want to save money here in America, then why bring up that people in Argentina are dying and they need money? You clearly don't care about people in need of money that may perish. We made that clear when we stopped helping out USAID. So what the hell is so special about the nation of Argentina? I want you guys to let me know that in the comments. What is so special in your opinion that's leading America to help out Argentina? And by the way, when we talk about third world countries that are really dilapidated, living in a desperate state, how many of people have heard about Argentina qualifying? When you look at what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on the continent of Africa, some places in Eastern Europe, how did Argentina, south of the border, we're kicking people out? Mexico, Guatemala, Venezuela, we're kicking people out that are starving. How did Venezuela get propelled to the top of the list? Somebody let me know that. And I assume you're going to probably point out that Trump is favorable to one of their politicians running to be the president of that country. But let me know, how did Venezuela reach the top of the list? And if you're MAGA, I really want to hear from you. Do you agree with sending $40 billion of our tax money to help out the nation of Venezuela, while so many Americans, even those who voted for Trump, acknowledge that they're currently struggling? The farmers are not doing worth a shit right now. How does Venezuela get to the top of the list? That's subject one. I want to hear from you folks in the comments about that. Subject two, remember the weaponized Department of Justice that Trump stated that Joe Biden had? It was a witch hunt, all the cases against Trump, whether we're talking about Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, the 34 felonies, Jack Smith coming after him, Fonnie Willis down in Georgia, all of these folks coming after President Trump and him stating that it was all a witch hunt, weaponized DOJ and all of this, blaming it on Biden and the Democrats. Well, President Trump is obviously free and clear now, but he is demanding that the Department of Justice pay him $230 million. That's actually over $250 million. Over $250 million to his pocket alone. Now, when I say he's demanding that from the Department of Justice, let's not misrepresent what this means. That money's coming from you and me. Just like the money we're paying to go to Argentina, we're going to be paying that $230 million that Trump is demanding. Now, obviously, Trump is an incredibly wealthy man already. He's a billionaire a few times over at this point. Some estimates suggest that he and his family have already made $3 billion since he came down the golden escalator in 2015. And at that time, he stated himself that he was worth $15 billion. Okay, some people argue that he was overstating, he was exaggerating, but he was already super wealthy before he ran for president the first time. That's the guy that is demanding $230 million from the taxpayers. Now, if he was wrongfully charged, he paid a fortune in legal fees and things of that nature, he wants to recoup his money, but he's also adding on a hell of a lot of money for damages and things like that. The raid on Mar-a-Lago, all of that. He wants $230 million from the Department of Justice, that's the U.S. taxpayers, going back to President Trump. I want to know in the comments, do you folks support that? Do you believe that the Department of Justice and the entities in this country wronged President Trump so much so that it would be okay if the taxpayers gave him a $230 million check? Obviously, generational wealth alone. That's all of his kids are rich. All of them folks are wealthy. He obviously don't need the money, but might be to make a point. Very similar to him suing ABC and 60 Minutes to CBS. He's just going after people for money to make a point. He does not need the money. Now, he claims, take this with a grain of salt. If you're MAGA, maybe you follow this, but he claims he would use the $230 million for charity or for the White House edition. I'll leave that into your hands. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. $230 million of the Department of Justice by way of the U.S. taxpayers funding going to President Trump. That's $230 to Trump, $40 billion to Argentina, all while Americans economically have not seen any improvement at all. What say you? Let me know in the comments. Do you favor this? As always, feel free to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.